Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. UFC 309. The GOAT, John Jones, against, I guess, another aging GOAT in Stipe Miocic. Main card preview. Boys, I know you're not happy because Tom Aspinall's not on the card, but the show must go on.
It is what it is. I'm still happy with the fight night. Still happy with the pay-per-view. A lot of people are hating, but I feel like this is a good pay-per-view. Like, either way you put it, man.
He's not on the cards, but he is over there in New York, and I need to see some interaction between him and John Jones in person once again. This is going to make the fight week for me, as well as seeing Charles win, but that's another story.
For today.
Oh, yeah.
So we're starting off with the main card. We're doing predictions, right?
Yes, sir.
Main card. First fight on the main card is going to be a very good one. Mauricio Hufi. I hope I said it right.
Mauricio.
Versus James Yontop. I hope these are hard as names, but this is a fire fight to start off the card. To me, it seems like Yontop is getting fed to Hufi, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I feel like it's a very easy fight for Hufi. Some people are saying Hufi is overrated already because they went back and they saw the knockout loss he had, but if you go watch that fight back, he was dominating the fight. He got caught by a big right hand. Yontop, if I look at his record, there's nothing that really impresses me. He's been losing to guys with much lower skill than Hufi, so I feel like this should be an easy one to pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could give him some credit on somebody's striking numbers, 62% striking defense, pretty good striking differential, but at the same time, he doesn't go for any takedowns. So it's not like he's going to change up the pace of the fight in any way if he's eating a bunch of shots from Rufi. So I see it going the Fighting Nerds way. I think they study well enough. They could probably pick a guy apart like James Yontop. I don't think he's bringing anything that they haven't seen before. So I think it's going to be a pretty easy finish for Mauricio.
I'm not 100% sure if the finish will happen because Yontop does have a very good chin. He is tough, and he fought to a decision versus Borshev, who is not bad, not a bad striker as well. But I do think that Hufi gets the TKO, but it's not going to be easy to TKO a guy like Yontop. I see him, Hufi, dominating, but Yontop is just tough overall.
Even if it's a decision, it's going to be a fun fight either way because Hufi's going to mix things up. He's going to try some crazy stuff. So
it's one of those timing beats speed, precision beats power type of situations. Like I agree with Emil on that one. It's going to be all about timing if he does land something.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to be easy. And Hufi, we've seen this guy so good. He is a very nice striker, really McGregor-esque. Not saying he is as good or whatever, but the style just reminds me of Conor.
Not yet. We'll know soon. Now, shall we move on to the next fight in the flyweight women's division? Viviana Araújo versus Karine Silva.
Baby. Fight of the night.
Okay, I want to hear your opinion on this one because
I barely have one, bro. I hope it doesn't go to a decision. I hope it's fairly technical, but I just can't. I can't tell myself it will be. It's going to be a decision, probably close. But I'll give an edge to Karine Silva just for being that fighter that the UFC's trying to promote. She's on a really solid win streak. So give me Karine Silva in a intermission style decision win.
I mean, Silva is actually pretty good though. Like for a women's MMA, this girl has really good grappling, very nice slick submissions. She has a lot of submission finishes. Her last fight was a decision over Lipski. Or now I think she has a different name, but whatever. Araujo, not a bad fighter either. But I feel like Silva is just too good on the ground, too slick. I just see her winning probably a decision because Araujo is tough. But she's actually really good and one of those girls where you're like, all right, this is like actual high-level women's MMA.
So just on momentum...
And she's never been finished on the ground either. So it'd be a nice watch if she's trying to struggle her way to a submission win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir. Also, Viviana Araújo is 37 years old, and in her last 6, she lost 4 out of her last 6. So just on momentum as well, the younger fighter coming off a bunch of wins in a row, I think this should...
But all those losses, bro, Sermonara, Chukagian, Grasso, Hibas, Natalia Silva, like all those losses are against actual elite fighters. So you can't really blame her, but I feel like Silva does belong on the top. So I see Silva winning here.
You got Grasso in there too, so she's been through some wars.
Exactly.
Shall we move on to this wrestling versus jiu-jitsu matchup? Very interesting one, in my opinion. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. I'm very interested to see what Bo Nickel's approach will be in this fight. If he straight up just will go for the takedown as always and like do what he does, but in Paul Craig's guard might be dangerous. One thing that makes me confident for him, I've watched his match long time ago. He did a match against Gordon Ryan in straight up grappling, and he was able to evade Gordon Ryan's submissions for a long time. But in the end, he got caught in a triangle, but it's Gordon Ryan. It would be expected, you know. Paul Craig has good triangles as well, but I feel like when if you mix in all the ground and pound and everything else, I feel like Bo Nickel will be comfortable in top position against Paul Craig. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one.
I have a feeling that Paul Craig's in a position where he's just taking tough fights. He's at the top of the food chain. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still 2-3 in his last 5 fighting the top of the food chain. And to be honest, he gets submitted himself. He gets finished himself. It's one of those fights where I just feel like, you know, back in the day, you used to see a lot of grapplers versus wrestlers, and it's a good way of distinguishing between the two, because a wrestler in top position and a grappler in bottom position, technically, both guys are kind of in favorable spots, but you a lot of the time now with these higher level fighters, the guy on the top tends to have a lot of the advantage, and I can see a lot more transitioning, trying to get into side control, trying to use a ground and pound. At distance, Paul Craig is saying that Bo should be worried, and I personally don't see any reason for that, because I'm not going to sense a lot of power coming from Paul Craig, and I can see Bo really having his way with them till maybe even, you know, a late ground and pound style finish if he gets there. But it's really hard to see an aging Paul Craig 2-3 in his last 5 take on a guy that's this good at even a single discipline in the UFC and has a tendency to find ways to win in whatever competition he's in. So I'm going to go with Bo Nickel, and I think it's going to be late finish, if not maybe a decision win.
I feel like Bo Nickel has a very good chance in this fight to showcase his striking a little bit more, because there won't be much danger in that for him, in my opinion. Emil, let me hear what you're.
Yeah, but even Caio, he had some difficulties on the feet as well against Paul Craig. So, and we saw how good he looked against Cannonier. So, I'm not sure that Paul Craig is as bad as we think, and I'm not sure that Bo Nickel is as good as we think on the feet. I feel like offensively he is, but defensively, I feel like we do see some flaws. And something interesting I wanted to let you know, especially you, Suki, fight to start round 2 is actually at -110, which is insane.
That's insane.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I know you love these type of lines, so I thought I'd let you know, because you were talking about late finish, and I agree. I don't see Bo Nickel finishing him fast, which of course can be possible, but if a guy like Caio, who is a better striker, better fundamentals on the ground as well, if he couldn't finish him in the first, I feel like Bo Nickel will have a harder time as well. So if I see Caio or Bo finishing him, it will be late second or third round. But fight to start round 2 is at -110.
Yeah, that's a lot of hype just based on the number, because I 100%
Exactly.
agree with you. And you said something really well earlier, and I do think people are probably going to underrate Paul Craig's striking, which is why I think that Bo's not going to play around. I think he's going to take a chance with the takedowns, with getting it close, with trying his best to be his best version and avoid some of the submissions. So I think it's a little easier to be that good of a wrestler and avoid submissions as opposed to taking a chance on the feet.
Can't you guys see Bo Nickel just coming in with an explosive, like 1-2 through the middle? He's a very explosive guy. Even if his technique on the feet is not very sharp still, he can close the distance very quick. So that's where I see he could do something different than Caio Borralho does. Like, Caio Borralho is not like a very quick guy, even though he's very good and very sharp. I feel like he could just surprise us with a quick shot. You never know.
But
don't disagree
one,
because when you look at the losses on Paul Craig's list, first round finishes are pretty high. But you look at the names: Tyson Pedro, Khalil Roundtree, Alonzo Menefield, the last one I saw there, Johnny Walker. These are some of the best first round fighters we've seen in that division over the last maybe half decade. So the way I would see it is if he's at the top of the food chain and being that good of a first round fighter, I would agree. It's just I don't know if I believe in his power being at the level of some of the guys we just named as a first round fighter. Because all those guys in a first round, if fights were 5 minutes long, a lot of those guys would be doing better in their careers. But it's a 3 round fight at the end of the day.
exactly.
Boys, shall we move on? This I think it's fair to say, people's main event or no? Charles Oliveira
100%,
versus
bro.
Michael Chandler.
Care about people. That's my boy.
Hey, this is 5 rounds as well, which is really nice. I like the fact that this is 5 rounds. I like the fact that the UFC is making 5 round co-main events because this is just makes the fight that much better. I'm not sure this will even go past the first round,
Yeah.
but if it does, it's just fun to know. All right, we got 2 more rounds if necessary. This would have been perfect for Charles Oliveira versus Hurricane as well. I feel like we missed those 2 rounds that were kind of necessary to really get a winner there. So I'm happy to see that it happens here.
Who do you think
I'm
this
not
favors?
sure they'll leave.
Who do you think this favors? The 5 rounds.
Probably Oliveira, bro. I don't see.
It's very weird to say that, right? Because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
When you think of a Charles Oliveira fight, you think the longer it goes, the worse it is for him. In this case, I always see like Michael Chandler like doing very well in the first 1-2 rounds. Like I think against Poirier, and then he got sloppy and just like when he got the choking hand over his neck, he was tapping right away. You know what I mean? So I feel like the longer this one goes, probably favors Charles. But boys, it's a scary one as a Charles fan. Let's be honest.
It's a scary one. Whoever is in front of him, to be honest, bro. After 2 years, the way he's been talking, bro, it is scary. Michael Chandler is a monster at the end of the day, bro. First round, he might just kill you, bro. But if we look at the names he's fought and he's beaten in the UFC, not great names. Dan Hooker, but that was not the right Dan Hooker. That was not the Dan Hooker we normally see. Tony Ferguson, and who else? Who else did he beat?
He did it.
That's it, right? He's 2-2,
Yeah.
or he's 2-3 even.
He's 23.
2-3. So who has he really beaten? Tony Ferguson, corpse of Tony Ferguson, and not a good version of Dan Hooker at all. So I don't see this being different. He's older. I've also heard some interesting news about him potentially having staph. This is why there were rumors of him pulling out. Just look at his right elbow and
right here.
see for yourself.
It's on the plane or something like that. I saw a little post about like.
It's
spot on his
amazing
arm.
how MMA fans have an eye for whatever spot you have in your body. It's immediately staph, bro. It could be anything else as well. Until we get
I've actually heard. This is not just a random post. I've actually
this guy has
heard it from
inside
people.
information, my brother.
Brother, come on, I'm different, brother. You don't say I'm some random Instagram guy, brother.
But we know this, like staph will affect your cardio. So this would probably mean, once again, that if the fight goes longer, it favors Charles. But bro, one thing I really think about, Chandler is 38. But the shape he always comes up with, like you see the shape he's in, it's so scary because you know he can land that one punch. Just that one punch. The question is if he will land a punch and if Charles will be able to weather the storm in the first round. And dude, it scares me that Charles wasn't able to get the finish in the first fight when he had the back with the triangle and everything. That scares me a little bit. Because in that position, like, most people are done against Charles. And you see, like, Chandler is a very short guy, like, short neck. He's going to be hard to submit early. He gets submitted when he's tired. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm very interested to see Charles's approach. I wouldn't be surprised to see Charles shoot in for a takedown like he did. In the first fight, he got caught by a big right hand, and then he shot in. Do you remember? and almost got caught in a guillotine. I'm curious if Charles will want to trade a lot on the feet, because it's not a good idea in my opinion. But
I want to
don't know.
back him up a little bit here because I can think back. I think it was around when he fought Frank Yeager, 2013. I was actually scared that Charles Oliveira was going to get cut. And the reason I was scared of that is because he was my first real exposure to a jiu-jitsu guy who really was willing to go through hell to get the fight to where he wanted to get it. And that's how a boxing fan falls in love with MMA. It's the wrestling and the grappling. And Charles was the guy back then. But you look at his record, how many guys have really finished him on the feet, especially in this lightweight run? When you think about it, he's been submitted more in the last maybe 8 years than he has been finished on the feet. He gets rocked, but I used to see Charles get rocked, and he would be so out of it trying to land a triangle from getting ground and pounded. Just the worst spots. And it's funny because you watch a guy who's in his 20s taking on absolute animals, seeing the worst possible spots in an MMA fight at that age. You're seeing the culmination of a guy who improved where he was pretty bad. He's a much better boxer. He's much better with rolling with punches, and he's actually a really good counter striker. So for me, it's actually the opposite. I'm actually hoping that this fight can be a bit more competitive with seeing a side of Chandler that we don't get to see in the UFC much. Change levels a bit. Keep them guessing. Make this a bit more of a technical fight than a brawl. Because in my personal opinion, based on everything we've seen so far, Charles is a really good brawler. He can take a punch now. He's able to actually come back from being rocked pretty easily. And frankly, over the course of 3 or 5 rounds, if it's a striking match, I think Charles has them. If you mix it up on him and you try to wrestle, i.e. Arman Sarukian, maybe squeeze out a decision over him. But I think the version of Charles that we've all fallen in love with over the last 3-4 years is a version of a perfected fighter that took a lot of damage when he was young. And I think he's learned technically how to be better, because his chin, for what, is probably done. But he's so much smoother as a striker, which is why I think we could see him be so good over the last what? If you look before that Islam fight, man, that's when everybody fell in love with him, right? And it was a lot of finishes. It was a lot better striking. So that's where I think Charles is on a different level. But it's up to Michael Chandler to change how we see this fight go. He has the ability to try and change levels. He has the ability to employ some wrestling. And I think that's the only way that you're either going to beat Charles in a decision or find ways to win outside of just going toe-to-toe with him.
Do you guys believe Chandler is gonna bring the calculated side of him instead of the crazy brawler dude?
Maybe in the first 3 seconds until he gets hit with a jab, and then he goes just full psycho, bro.
Exactly.
That's what I see happening. But 2 more things I would like to add. First of all, the chin might have been done at some point, but with the time, 2 years ago, he lost his title, right? Since then, he's had 3 fights. He hasn't taken any real damage, at all. At all. So that should not be a problem. He should be good. The chin should be fresh. He's still not that old. He's 35, and that's normal. At this weight class, it's okay.
And you could make... Sorry, bro, go ahead.
Another thing about Chandler, he was talking about never pulled out, always professional, this and that. Why would you say it if there wasn't any issue with you? So that's why I'm also believing the stories about the staff and stuff. You wouldn't say it if there wasn't an actual issue going on, you know?
I just want to say, people, don't forget, even though there's an L on Charles's last fight, you could make the case that that wasn't an L. But that's another
100%.
Conversation for another. That's a whole video by itself.
And think about what his record looks like with that decision going the other way. It's one of the more immaculate records, especially for the lower weight classes. The development that he's done since 2013 has to be studied, because it's some of the best glow up you'll ever see at that level of MMA, basically the UFC.
I thought he beat Sarukian, to be honest. He did much more damage. He almost finished him twice in the first and in the third round. So to me, I thought he won the fight.
I like to hear this, bro. Now, if you guys don't have any more thoughts on this co-main, shall we move on?
Praise Charles.
Well, let's this one up, because he's the big fan. He likes this fight. One of the only people on earth that actually agrees with this fight. So
How do
let's hear
we
it.
how do we announce this fight? This is undisputed heavyweight, not
Okay,
undisputed.
so let's put it
Old
this way:
man
the 30
heavyweight
and
title
40-year-olds
bout.
who probably don't like it, this is the fight for them. You know, the 40-year-olds who haven't watched a fight in half a decade. This fight's for them.
But yeah,
This is not undisputed because there is a
That's the funniest
interim.
statement, bro. That has to be the funniest statement. To call
Wait,
this an undisputed heavyweight title fight is the wildest claim
yeah.
that you can make. Forget everything, whether you agree, disagree with whoever. To call this undisputed is the most outlandish statement I've
Yeah,
ever heard.
but it is not. But the fact of the matter is, once this fight starts, the first second, Tom Aspinall is not the interim champion anymore.
Is
So
this
they
true?
might
Is
have
this
talked-
100% true?
Yeah, of course. If you're not fighting for a title, and somebody else is, you're not the champion.
Dude, I don't understand how the UFC can.
They screwed up. They screwed up. In my personal opinion, they screwed up big time. Because if you think about it like this, image-wise, forget everything. After Pavlovich, if you gave him one, maybe two more fights, it could have been gone. Maybe even you find a way to sell Jelton Almeida and Tom Aspinall as like the next big heavyweight on the rise. You could have done something like that. The moment you gave this boy a title for beating Sergey Pavlik, who got pieced up by my man Volkov, you really dug yourself a hole. That's why people are confused. Forget knowledgeable MMA fans or anything. People are confused. You can literally say they're just confused.
But you know what it is as well? Like, people are calling, John Jones is the undisputed heavyweight champion. Even before Aspinall, bro, he didn't beat the champion at the time. He fought for a vacant title against Cyril Gane. So,
That doesn't matter. You're still undisputed.
okay, so
When you have all the belts, you're
Vacant is different, yeah.
undisputed.
so you're saying they shouldn't have made the interim belt?
100%.
But,
No,
but the champion was going to be out for a year.
Aspinall versus Jones. That's what I'm saying.
No. So forget. So Emil, let's agree that was clearly not even in the conversation. So let's be
Yeah.
even a bit more realistic about it, because I don't disagree with you. I 100% do not disagree. But if the UFC was planning this, or John Jones had vocalized this in any way, shape, or form, what are you doing giving an interim title when you know that the current champion is trying to fight the past champion, who is arguably the best heavyweight ever, instead of the current best heavyweight in the world? That's the part that I struggle with. That's the part that I wish I could explain it to a group of people to try and bring people together. Because that, business-wise, the UFC fumbled the ball so badly. Because there's confusion now. What do you do with Aspinall? Do you sit him on the shelf till one guy's ready? It's a wild situation.
Historically, that's what they do. If they know the champ is going to be out for a year, they make an interim belt. And also, John said this, and it's kind of true. Like, they had to save the card by having a title fight on it. So that's why.
But there was already Pereira versus Prohaska, so it wasn't that necessary. And Aspinall was the backup for that fight as well, and Stipe refused to fight Aspinall. This is why they needed some more to hype it up.
And you're telling me we would have been for almost 2 years without the champion fighting any like real contenders. The only reason the heavyweight division has had any hype around it or any news around it is because Tom Aspinall has defended his interim title, bro. Besides that, the division would be completely frozen, dead stop.
And you know what's
this is a question. I have a question for you guys. Do you remember that press conference where Dana goes into some pretty heavy detail? Forget all the Jones GOAT talk, but he goes into detail on the timeline of events, and he is supporting the fact that Jones is the current champion and never lost the belt, blah, 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 because of the timeline and being injured. Do you guys remember that press conference? If you analyze those statements, the fact that you would think that he doesn't run the UFC, because it's so contradictory to the idea of having that interim title for Tom. That's the part that I'm just like, what is happening here in this sport? Or I should say in this company, because you already have A, and you are defending B with A still a real thing. you don't have a way of bringing these together anymore. That's the wildest part for me. And I'm just curious if you guys think that was a mistake. Because he defended that entire part, and I personally believe that is the only reason that he had to do that was because of the interim belt. It makes zero sense.
Another
Honestly, this is a very complicated issue, and I also think we should really look into the matchup instead of where
I knew this was gonna happen.
Bro, to be honest, I'm more
get
interested in talking about the situation itself than the matchup. Cause
I agree, because we know who the winner is, right?
You know what we could do? Here, cut this part out. What we could do is we could make this into 2 videos. Take the part that's here in the middle and make it maybe a separate video on just the topic of the fight. And then when we cut to the breakdown of the fight, just condense it to the Charles Oliveira part. That's the best thing
Honestly, we don't need a breakdown for this fight, do we? John Jones has been training with Gordon Ryan. He's gonna wrestle. He's gonna submit him second, first, third round. He's gonna finish Stipe Miocic. I think we all know this. Stipe, listen, there is a small little chance that he boxes him up if he has the good defense, but I've seen him walk, and he literally seems like he has a hard time walking. That's how bad it all is.
He's always walked weird, bro. Let's be honest. He has these arched legs, and he walks weird. He always been like this.
This is different, bro. When have you ever seen a walk this weird, bro? It was like as if one leg was 1.50 m, one leg was just 1 meter, bro. That's how he walked. It was not great. He's old. He's had a lot of injuries. His only good attribute right now to beat Jones is his boxing. But at 42, bro, come on.
And you're not boxing up John Jones. I don't care how old you are. You're not you can't go into an MMA fight against John Jones with one aspect of your game. You just can't do it.
You can't. You're not gonna outbox him because now they brought back the old gloves, and he'll be able to eye poke the hell out of Stipe and just keep the range with the two fingers in the eyes.
Real? Is that actually for real? That is the funniest.
That is so funny, bro. Like, it is so fun. Like, literally, there's no way it wasn't done on purpose. That it should be on the John Jones card. There's no way that this wasn't on purpose. Dana saw, all right, bro. I need this guy to win. Let's just bring the all go back for one event. Let's see.
Dana is getting the flag of the UFC. Bro, he's rubbing the name of the UFC as an organization through the mud, bro. Having an interim champ not fighting with the champ, bringing back the old gloves for John Jones, saying all this.
It's the same man that moved the fight for a picogram.
Bro,
Let's remember, picograms moved to LA, so the streak continues. John Jones runs the UFC,
and that was the week off, by the way. That was literally during the week. Insane.
Bro, you know how crazy it was? People were asked, are you willing to travel to keep your tickets? And if not, we'll refund you and resell them in LA. Wildest experience I've ever seen.
Bro, it's so sad. And I hope, if you guys believe in karma, I hope a miracle happens this weekend. I have a little bit of hope that Stipe has 0 submission losses. He had the wrestling background, if I'm not mistaken. Like he's like a heavyweight, a real heavyweight. I don't know. In a perfect world, he's able to stuff John Jones's takedowns, and I don't know, but win in some shape or form. I don't know, bro.
Let me ask you guys one question. Do you guys believe that when Stipe fought Ngannou for the second time, did you believe that was? What did you guys think was going to happen in that fight? Did it play out exactly as you thought?
I thought Stipe would just do the same as in the first one, to be honest.
Okay, so my thought process there is that is a much younger, a title-chasing version of Stipe. And I know we don't like doing MMA math, but when you watch that fight, and you consider an elder version of that guy fighting a heavyweight training John Jones, like, I honestly believe that line, as much as we want to disagree with that minus 800 line, it's coming from a place of, like, it's still John Jones. There's a reason he's at heavyweight and not at light heavyweight. You want to fight John Jones at light heavyweight? We actually have seen guys tried to find a way. They came real close to ending this whole streak at light heavyweight. But at heavyweight now, it's a different ball game. And I truly believe that for as long as he wants, especially against some of these older guys, he's going to have his way with them.
You guys think he finishes him like with submission probably? Because like
Probably, maybe ground
he's
and pound,
not knocking. You think
Yeah.
he knocks him out on their feet
think-
or something?
I
No.
think, knowing John Jones, bro, I think that Gable Steveson and Gordon Ryan being there with, is it Sikorsky? How do you say his last name? The Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah, the French dude.
Shabowski. Yeah, bro. I think
yeah.
that he is trying to end this fight with 12 to 6 elbows on the ground.
That would be crazy.
I truly believe that John Jones is trying to end this fight with those elbows. The same way he's got his only loss on his record. He's going to try to take him down. He's either going to do it from mount. He's going to try to do it from side control. Whatever works. But I truly believe he's going for those elbows or a submission. That's the way I see this fight going. It's not
hurts
going
me
to
just
decision.
think
I'll tell you that
about it,
much.
bro. You don't think
Yeah.
it goes to a decision?
No.
I could see
I
it
don't.
going to a
Because
decision,
if
bro.
it's competitive, a 5-round boxing Stipe has a chance. If it's competitive, I just don't think it's going to be that competitive, bro. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
It will be competitive, and Jones keeps it on the feet, but he won't.
He won't.
Maybe
Not this
for
one.
minute.
He's too smart, bro. Come on, he's too smart.
Why
Best
wouldn't he
IQ in
keep
the
it on the
game,
feet though? I feel like he has the range on Stipe. He's gonna be here. You know?
He's about exploiting guys, bro. He's all about exploiting guys. When you look at the way he's fought all of these guys in the past, he really does. This is the one thing I've loved about John, and he taught me a lot about just sports in general. It's not about just being good at the sport. It's about studying your opponent. It's the way the NFL approaches a game. Once a week, you play once a week. Your team's probably as good as it's going to be as you get through the season, but you study the opponent the week of the fight or of the game. And I think in Jones's case, as we've seen in the past, takes tape study very seriously. I think he's going to exploit Stipe Miocic in a much bigger way than Francis, because Francis was raw power as a boxer, and he came out slinging. I think Jones is going to take it to a whole new level.
Boys, I have a
I
question
got
for
one
you.
last question.
Yeah, sir.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This might be a dumb thing to ask. Who do you think has the best record, name-wise? John or Miocic?
Carlos Oliveira, baby, let's go.
I mean, John for sure, but I mean,
Wait, what did I say? I said Charles?
Stipe or
No, I
Jones.
said Charles. I was being funny.
I was like, I thought maybe I said Charles for some reason.
Nah.
Bro, because I'm looking at Miocic's record, and he has so many big names and like legit, like very good. Like he beat Ngannou, bro. Like he has very
And
good
that's
names on
why-
his record, bro.
That is why Jones is chasing this fight, right? He wants to be the guy that beat all those guys.
Yeah.
That's how Jones's brain works. And I know it's what everybody hates right now, but that you just broke down exactly how Jones's brain is thinking. Let me go beat the guy that's beat all these guys. Cormier, think about it. Cormier at heavyweight, he was a stud till he
Yeah.
fought Stipe.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. My boy Emil, go ahead. You were gonna say something.
who would win right now, Francis or Jones? I think that's a good question.
Bro.
Francis.
That's the best question.
Francis.
I don't think so,
I'm
bro.
biased. I'm not a big fan of Jones, but Francis.
Yeah, I think it's a much more. How about this? It's a way more competitive fight than what we're about to watch.
I
Way more
agree, but I
competitive.
think Jones. Anyway, if he can't find a
Same.
takedown,
But I'll tell you
It's
what,
done.
there's a fighter who I'm like 85% confident that he destroys John Jones. And his name is
Aspinall?
Tom
Junior Dos
Aspinall.
Santos? Is it Junior Dos Santos?
Yeah, it's just,
I agree, bro. I feel like Tom Aspinall. Listen, we've seen John Jones at light heavyweight last few fights. He wasn't really able to take guys down. He wasn't able to take down Reyes. He wasn't able to take down Santos. The striking looks shit. Aspinall's much bigger, more powerful, probably stronger.
probably,
very
bro.
nice
I'm
striking.
100% sure he's way stronger, bro. He has 30 pounds on him at least, because I don't know if he cuts to make 65, bro. And he's like been carrying that weight all his life. He's been
Yeah, and he's
grappling
an
since he
actual
was a
heavyweight.
kid, bro.
As-
you cannot
as
make
an
a case
American
for me
Canadian
that
of sorts-
John Jones beats him, bro. I'm sorry.
You think John Jones beats him?
No, I haven't seen anyone make a good case for John Jones beating Tom Aspinall, bro.
Yeah,
Cardio.
the only thing you could say is prime John Jones at heavyweight is the only way. And you know why? Because when you watch, like, I specialize in big boy speed, and Tom Aspinall has very, very real big boy speed. And when I say that, it's like, and this is how, like, I'm not even trying to toot my own horn in this by any means, but like, what makes me good at football is I can weigh over 200 pounds, but I can probably race a lot of guys who are 180 pounds and beat them. That speed at that weight is an athletic advantage and in MMA that you can't replicate that. And that you were talking about an older John Jones, like when you watch Tom, like the way you said it, bro, like there is a chance that Tom could embarrass John Jones. Like the way he can roll with punches, the way he can put combos together. Think about what Emil just said of how we watched the striking of John Jones in, over the hill, slightly past his prime light heavyweight fights. He's a little lighter, less weight to carry around. Now we're talking about heavyweight, older. He's gonna move a little slower. And the thing about Tom, bro, that makes him so good, in my opinion, this guy moves like a middleweight. He moves like a middleweight. That is his best feature. And I think that's what makes him stand out in his fights because it's like duck and move. He's really good at slipping and he's really good at finding spots. And it's actually insane just how good Tom Aspinall is. The Volkov fight for me was a big one. To see him land a submission like that, to just see him really be able to think on his toes, it was insane, bro. Because boxing's boxing, right? Like we see it so much in heavyweight. But the way that was technically fought and the way he won it, bro, I thought that was wild. I thought it was wild. Think about the difference, right? Sergey Pavlovich is the guy he beat for that interim title. Look what Volkov did to Pavlovich. That difference, bro, Tom is on a different level, man. And I think this is his division for the next 5 to 10 years if he wants it. Because that athleticism is going to be hard to replicate for a lot of people.
Only concern for me is the cardio. I'm not sure how that cardio is. He's been in the second round once against Arlovsky, and he looked okay, I guess. But I mean, if somebody really pushes it, that's the only way I could see him losing. But who at heavyweight could really push the pace? Nobody.
Nobody.
So. Yeah, no one.
Maybe
and John and
Volkov,
Tom are finishers, right? And Tom and you're right. You know what, bro? That's a snipe. That's an absolute snipe because if Volkov could fight his fight, you could actually make the argument he has the best cardio in the division because he looks good 5 rounds straight, no problem. Like no problem. So that's a great observation. I would actually say, based on game plan, I think Volkov might have the best cardio from what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm very curious to see, like, if John Jones beats Stipe, that we most probably think will happen, how is he gonna escape the Tom the Tom chants after the fight when he has this post-fight interview? Are the UFC cameras not gonna point at Tom Aspinall in the crowd?
No. They're gonna point at Alex Pereira, and he's gonna drop the belt on the ground and say, "Tom, if you want to fight losing Stipe, go fight losing Stipe. I'm gonna fight Alex Pereira." I have a feeling he's willing to relinquish the belt just to fight Pereira at heavyweight.
That's what he said too. He wants for the BMF, which is
this is ridiculous.
Let's make an interim BMF title.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and you're gonna strip Tom Aspinall as well. Like, bro, I can see a situation that Dana White is gonna be like calling the truck. Guys, if you guys show Tom Aspinall on the camera, I'm firing you immediately. Bro, I don't know how they're gonna have. I'm 100%. The entire rest of this fight week, they're gonna have security making 100% sure that Tom Aspinall and John Jones don't see each other at all the entire time, cause you know Tom is gonna just, come on, bro, stop ducking me. You know what I mean? And no one can defend the ducking from John Jones. I haven't seen one good defense. You know what I mean?
The thing is that the only defense that you possibly have is ducking is the wrong word. He just doesn't feel that Tom's worthy, and he's going to a bigger fight. Technically speaking,
is Alex Pereira a bigger fight?
No, but here's the thing. That's my point. Is would like most people in terms of ducking, like who ducks Tom Aspinall but chooses to fight Alex Pereira? You know what I mean? Like ducking might not be the best word. He's still trying to fight one of the best fighters on the planet.
No, it's not the same level, bro. It's not the same level. I feel like Alex Pereira is a much more winnable fight for him. because we
Agreed.
know Alex will not be able to defend the grappling attacks, bro. It's just that simple. I feel like it's obvious ducking. I don't know how people can say that Alex Pereira is the bigger fight. I feel like Tom Aspinall sells a lot
No, it's
more.
money, bro. No.
Me too,
no,
bro.
he doesn't sell more. It's just money. It's just money.
I don't know, bro.
You won't make as much on that. That's I think a guaranteed fact is a Pereira Jones fight just sells more. That's it. There's no other explanation. You said it best, right? There's no other credible reason, unless you want to claim the ducking, which is fine. It comes down to money. It comes down to why take a chance on losing a fight for less money? I think Jones is telling himself, I'll lose to Pereira, but I'm going to get paid probably twice the amount for fighting Pereira versus Tom. Like that's just the way you look at it. But you said it best, right? He's probably telling himself, yeah, Pereira's probably a much more winnable fight for me than Tom. And I
Bro,
agree with you. Like, there's
here-
no way that doesn't go into the process.
I'm gonna agree to disagree with you that you think Alex Pereira is the bigger fight, because we've been yapping for a long time about the situation. So just so we have the final predictions here. You guys are taking Jones 100%.
Jones by submission.
I'm
Third
taking
round.
Stipe just for the fun of it. Miracle is gonna happen. Karma.
Ed,
The
you have to
universe
sprinkle that
is
money
gonna
line, bro.
come together
Gotta
and bring
sprinkle
the
that money
equilibrium.
line, bro.
So yeah, bro.
I
Gotta
will,
sprinkle
bro.
that money
I
line.
am sprinkling Stipe and Stipe by knockout. That's what I'm doing.
You have to. If you have any faith in Steve pulling this off, you have to do it. But I do want to pick your brain more on why you think that Pereira fight's not the bigger fight.
Let's do
Because
this afterwards, my bro. Because this guy has to go. I have to go. But that's a conversation for another time for sure. But
I'd love
guys, who do you want to give like a conclusion here?
Charles Oliveira. Viva Charles Oliveira. All day, every day. Let's go.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
We'll
Guys.
see you in the next video, irmão.
Ooh,
And if you didn't know, Charles Oliveira is fighting this Saturday. Let's go.
Let's go.